Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Kimi Grzyb from the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality. Is that correct?
Correct.
And we are going to go over what it is involved in becoming a Oregon State wastewater treatment plant operator. Welcome, Kimi.
Hi, thanks, Sean, for including me in this.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Go ahead.
Again, my name is Kimi Grzyb. I'm the coordinator for DEQ's statewide operator certification program. And we have about 1,400 certified operators and almost 400 classified collection and treatment systems that require certified operators. And here in Oregon, as you mentioned, DEQ does the wastewater side, and Oregon Health Authority certifies drinking water operators.
That's good for people to know that this is not about drinking water. This is strictly a wastewater conversation. Thank you so much, Kimi. So let's start where most people where most people start. What does it take to be a wastewater treatment plant operator in Oregon? Can you take us through what that even means?
Sure, to get certified, we first require operators to set up a Your DEQ Online account, also known as YDO, and that's our web-based environmental data management system. And once they've set that account up, we require them to submit an application with fee. And the application is an online application, but a proof of high school or GED needs to be attached, as well as an experience affidavit signed by the operator's supervisor. We have written guidance and video tutorials available for each step of the process available on our webpage. And to note that applicants are allowed to apply for whichever type and grade certificate that they qualify for because we don't require sequential certification. So then if they meet our education and experience requirements, they're approved to take the 2025 Water Professionals International Standardized Exam. Then, if they pass that exam, they're issued a certificate which can be renewed every 2 years by completing 2.0 continuing education units. And those should be approved by OESAC, the Oregon Environmental Services Advisory Council. They're all listed on the oesac.org website. And that council consists of operators, educators, regulators, and industry associates that review each course for relevancy to wastewater operator certification topics. I think that covers that one.
Very good. All right. So you've actually already answered one of my other questions, which was what's your standardized test? California, we kind of do our own thing. We are not WPI or ABC. I know there was a transition sometime recently to WPI. I guess it's no longer ABC. Is that correct? Or is it
Correct.
still?
They did a rebranding. The testing is still known as the ABC exams,
Okay.
but the umbrella that encompasses that is the Water Professionals International or
Okay, very good.
WPI. Yep.
Awesome. So test takers out there, that's going to be your baseline for study guides. They have need to know criteria on the WPI website. Just if you saw the Ohio tutorial, same vibe. And so if you're looking for study material, which we're going to talk about later in this conversation with Kimi, but for those of you who are wondering, that's the standardized test for Oregon. Now, Kimi, let's touch on operator and training real quick, because every state we have these things, and I learned from Ohio that that's more of a honorary title. It wasn't really an actual certificate that's issued by the state, whereas here in California, you have to have an OIT certificate to be a trainee in a plant and start accruing hours for that specific plant. It's really an interesting system. So what about in Oregon? What do you guys do for OITs?
So for operators in training in Oregon, this is what we kind of refer to as a waiver for experience to sit for the exam. So as long as an operator has proof of high school or GED and has enrolled in a DEQ approved training program, then we can allow them to sit for the exam. And once they pass the exam, they have 3 years to attain the required experience, show that they've completed their DEQ approved training, and submit an application that gets processed to be issued their full certificate. And the DEQ approved training that we offer are the Cal State Sacramento Office of Water program courses. as well as the Water Environment Federation Liquid Treatment Fundamentals Series. And finally, there are two community colleges that offer water environment technology related certificates and associates here in Oregon, Umpqua Community College and Clackamas Community College. And so if somebody's enrolled in that, either of those, we also accept that for operators in training.
Awesome. And everybody, I probably should have already said this. All of the links that are mentioned today were going to be in the description. And I'm going to be doing a screen overlay, which I didn't do in the last one with Ohio. I did a screen tutorial, made the video super long. What we're going to try to do is Kimi has provided me with a lot of uh, images that I can actually put over the screen as we go through this so that you can see them. If you have any questions, you can always email Oregon. We'll go through the contact info at the end, also down in the description below. But yeah, so we'll do our best. I'm not going to do a screen share tutorial this time because I don't think there's a real need for it. So, Kimi, what are the grade levels from lowest to highest? States do different things. So can you go through those for us?
Sure. We offer a small wastewater system operator, as well as grades 1 through 4 for both collection and treatment, and grade 4 is our highest. With additional post-high school education, such as college degrees or partial college transcripts, that often reduces the experience requirement for getting certified. So we do offer we require a class qualifier for grades 3 and 4, where operators, in order to get a grade 3 certificate, they need experience at a class 2 system, and to obtain a grade 4 certificate, they need experience at a class 3 system.
Gotcha.
And however, to avoid creating any barriers for operators at smaller systems who wish to upgrade, operators that attain a higher grade certificate than the classification of the system they're employed at may receive credit for working at a system that corresponds with their certification level.
So I'm wondering for those people who want to be an OIT or just a grade one, um, what would be your baseline education level for getting in an exam? So in California, we have to have all these extra continuing education units outside of a high school diploma. Is there anything like that for the entry level? Do you have to have these classes?
Only for operators in training. So minimum for everybody, though, is high school or GED. But
Okay,
then in order to be an operator in training, you have to have enrolled in one of those DEQ approved training programs. Otherwise, it's just 1 year of experience minimum, at
perfect.
least half of which needs to be direct experience in the type you're applying for, either collection or treatment. The rest can be related experience, which includes drinking water, storm water, and other types of experience that can be reviewed prior to applying if you have questions about that.
Okay, so here's an interesting question that I'm just thinking of now. Can you skip the OIT phase, get your experience as an uncertified person, and go right, not have to do any education?
Absolutely. As long
Cool.
as you attain that 1 year of experience, that's when you become certified. But prior to becoming certified, Oregon only requires one designated supervisory operator at each system to be certified at or above the classification of the system.
And which do you see as the more common, I don't want to say the more successful route because every utility is different. Every hiring manager has a different point of view on who they're going to select. But I mean, would you say you guys see more people go the education OIT route or more people just jump to the one? What's more common?
I don't have the actual data for that, but anecdotally, I would say regular pathway to certification. We mostly see OITs for people who are in like say a associate's degree program where they've just done a semester of, say, math, and while that's fresh in their head, they want to sit for the
Ah,
exam. And then once they pass the exam, that's when that 3 years starts. So they still have plenty of time to finish their degree, find a job, and get that 1 year under their belt before we can actually give this the full certification.
gotcha. Very cool. And so we're kind of jumping around on my list I gave you, but it's kind of how it's unfolding. Um, So I see there's a grade one and there's a provisional grade one on the website. And I was just kind of curious, what's the difference between those two?
Sure. The Provisional grade one is actually a non-renewable one-year certificate, and that requires an operator to, again, have the high school or GED, be enrolled in the DEQ approved training similar to OIT, but they also must be employed and supervised by a certified operator. Um, Again, that's non-renewable, so once the 1 year runs up, then they can apply for their grade one. As part of their provisional grade one application, we do approve them to take the exam. And so again, once they pass the exam, show that they have the 1 year, then they can be issued their full certificate, which is good for 2 years and can be renewed by completing CEUs.
And is that situation more for smaller systems? It sounds like a concession for smaller and not bigger. Is that correct?
Exactly. We only offer provisional at grade one.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, if it would be for smaller. Perfect. And so you mentioned this, and it was another one of my questions. I learned about this about Ohio is that you don't have to be certified to work in a plant. You just need the shift operator being certified, and you have a chief operator. Here in California, that's a no-no. That's an absolute false start. You can't do that. So this should give people in Oregon some hope to break in that you don't actually have to walk in with a certificate. Is that correct? You can just get a job and then work towards it.
Correct.
Yeah, that's great. And but most employers are, even though you're not required to have the certificate, most employers are going to probably nudge you that direction. You need to get certified.
Right. And they often have different incentivizing programs to encourage operators to not only get certified, but upgrade when they're eligible.
Awesome.
Usually
So,
that's the pay rate.
oh yeah, oh well, that money talks, right? So we've talked about grades and all these things, and for the layman out there, or laywoman, layperson, I should say, that is like, are they talking about? Can you explain how the grades translate to treatment plant classifications and why you would need a certain grade versus a size or complexity of a plant?
Absolutely. We actually upgraded or updated our classification system and recently. And instead of a complex point system that I know a lot of states still use, Oregon uses Table A from our Oregon Administrative Rules, and that's based on the most complex treatment type and size of the system. That's a general framework to determine what type of or what grade operator is needed to be able to knowledgeably run that system. And there's a couple exceptions. Well, first of all, small wastewater systems must have a class one treatment type, and so any either a lagoon, aerated or non-aerated, and also has to be less than 500 design population or less than 150 connections. And again, we use Table A as a general framework, but there are exceptions, based on the complexity or unique characteristics of a system or the use of the receiving waters, that classification may be adjusted upwards or downwards.
So, Kimmy, is it possible to attain the highest level of certification without post high school education? If you don't need that education for the one or two, do you need it for any other certifications?
In Oregon, grade four treatment does require a minimum of 1 year of post-high school education. And 1 year is considered either 45 college quarter credits, 30 semester credits, or a combination of quarter credits and CEUs. So we accept outright pretty much any science, math, hard science, math, and engineering courses, as well as anything related to water and wastewater operation and management. And again, operators are always welcome to submit their transcripts prior to applying for review to let them know how many of their courses would count towards post-high school education. We only accept these in chunks of 45 or complete 1 year groups of credits or CEUs.
Oh, that's interesting. So, what if somebody were to go to CSUS and WEF and do the correspondence courses? Would those count?
All of those count. The
Okay.
WEF, I believe, is 6 credits, and Cal State, depending on courses, ranges depending on which volume and how many of the modules are taken. But yes, those all count for post high school education. They're also approved by OESAC and by DEQ.
Okay. Very cool. Okay, so are there any other ways somebody might attain a CEU or prepare for an exam? What would you recommend that you haven't already mentioned?
Yes, actually, for renewal CEUs, we do offer 2.0 CEUs for passing an exam, an ABC or WPI exam
Nice.
on the wastewater side. It must be a wastewater exam. And we also offer up to 1.0 CEUs for operators who train operators in training. And that's a good incentive because we know that it can often be additional work on top of normal tasks to train an operator in training. And to address the national crisis of the operator shortage, we also offer up to zero point 0.5 CEUs for renewal CEUs for going out into your community and talking about wastewater operation as a career.
What
And
about starting a YouTube channel? Do you offer any CEUs for that?
not yet,
Yeah.
but the for to get these CEUs for your renewal period, it does have to be done in the 2 years prior to your expiration date.
Okay. And is there anything you would recommend people use for study material? I mean, we kind of already touched on the need to know criteria, but is there anything you'd like to say regarding, I'm getting ready to go for my grade one. What should I be looking at?
Sure. Now that we've transitioned as of May 1st, 2025 to the WPI 2025 standardized exam, they meaning WPI lists the Cal State Sacramento Office of Water Programs and the WEF liquid treatment fundamentals books as their only two resources for each exam item. So that I think has been whittled down from previously over 30 resources. So this version of the exam, if somebody has mastered everything in those two training materials, they should do great on the exam.
Reciprocity. Let's talk about reciprocity. How I'm California. I'm soon to be grade five. I just passed the exam and my application's pending. I want to move to, I don't know, Bend. Because that's kind of my vibe. What do I do? How do I get my certificate transferred over to Oregon?
Sure. For reciprocity in Oregon, a operator does need to be certified in good standing by another state, province, or through Water Professionals International's Professional Operator (PO) program. And depending on which state they're certified in, if they've taken the nationally standardized WPI exam, we can give them a waiver from the exam at the same grade. But there are a few states that still have custom state exams, such as California. So in that case, we can give a waiver from the exam at one grade lower. However, they still do need to meet our education and experience requirements. So even
Gotcha.
a grade five operator in California would still need to show for at least 1 year post high school education minimum in order to be a treatment for operator as well as the required experience.
So, Kimmy, that's pretty much all the questions I had for you. Do you have anything you'd like to add before I ask you my very, very last question?
Oh, just I like to let people know we're here to help. So if any operators ever have any questions about the application process or qualifying, we do list a lot of things on our website, but always feel free to reach out and give us a call.
Awesome. And that was my last question. How do people reach out to you?
Sure, email or phone number work great. We always try to get return calls as soon as possible. And yes, please, we welcome all inquiries.
Yeah, and they even responded to my very strange inquiry to do a YouTube video about their certification process. So I'm going to put not only the email to DEQ in the description, but also I'm going to pin a comment. It'll be the very top comment, and that will also have their email address in it, so you can contact them with any questions if you had any clarifying questions about this at all. Thank you so much, Kimmy, for joining me today on this venture through Oregon's certification process in wastewater treatment.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean.